City of Stevens Point Special Common Council meeting, recorded May 30th, 2023.
Council meeting to order. Could we get a roll call, please?
Christensen.
Here.
Shore. Keemer.
Here.
Zarazua is excused. Burr.
Here.
Plassance.
Here.
Kneebone.
Here.
Shuda.
Here.
Lang.
Here.
Fischler.
Here.
Morrow.
Aye.
And we have a quorum. Did anybody hear from Shore?
Have not.
We'll mark him as absent for now then. We have an amended agenda. We were going to have a special personnel committee meeting, but we are not doing that, therefore no action will be needed for that special personnel committee. We have one item on the agenda, and that's to authorize the contract with Baker Tilly for a classification and compensation study for a fee of $41,300. The contract was included in your packet. Generally speaking, we have seen challenges recruiting and retaining employees. And after talking about it with directors over the course of several weeks, it was determined that we could probably all use another revamp. The last time we did a citywide study was, I believe, 2016. We did a market survey after that. So the process generally is an evaluation of all the city positions should happen every 5 to 7 years. We're at 6 years now. And then the market surveys are done in between those, and those are just gauging a few key positions to determine if we're still keeping up with the market. Because we were only able to do 3% last year, this budget cycle, which is well behind the cost of living, which was anywhere between 7 and 9%, depending on who you ask. And the recruitment retention issues, it was determined collectively by your directors and department heads that this would be a good time to do all of the positions again. And I forget, Sandy, how many are there? 88?
But 80.
88 positions. All of them will be fully evaluated, meaning the job descriptions will be reviewed by the department heads, sent over to Baker Tilly. Baker Tilly evaluates those through a system called SAFER. It's safer.
Safe.
Is it safe?
Safe.
Safe. It's an acronym for something, but it's a proprietary evaluation process that takes the duties of each position and gives them a score. That score generally puts them in a grade, and then that they use that along with comparables, which consists of several communities that we've determined as being approximately the same size as the city of Stevens Point. I know Manitowoc is one of them. We take into account Wausau, Marshfield, Plover, I think Bayfield. We have a list of them somewhere, but that list has been approved for a while. If you want to see it, we can certainly provide that, but it's cities that are comparable to us. Then they will take that, and in this case, we will likely see a new pay chart. Right now, we have a scale that goes from, what's the lowest, J? Up to V, something like that, and then steps within there that go 1 to 10. It will likely look different as a recommendation, but the final result, of course, will be subject to your approval. And the reason we're doing that is because positions change, the demand for certain positions change. IT obviously is different than it was now than it was 40 years ago. And some of those positions have a higher demand. Law enforcement are good ones, but we're not going to do any represented employees. These will just be non-represented employees. Any employee that has representation gets negotiated through a separate contract. I think that covers just about everything. Questions before we look for a motion?
I'm going to recuse myself.
Okay. I would defer to the attorney, but I don't believe it's necessary to authorize the contract. You may want to consider it when you authorize the final result, but authorizing the contract, I don't think. Your call. If you want to recuse yourself, that's fine.
I think it'd be because it could result.
Right, I understand.
So, yeah.
So, questions, because I'm sure you guys have a lot.
Excuse me, 2 weeks ago at the meeting, there was the $13,000 that was used for the water department. You said that was going to be subtracted off from this. Is that number factored into this or has it already been taken into account?
So any work that's already been done, which is mostly utilities, will not be done again. We're not being charged for that again. However, what was done at the utilities is not the classification and compensation study. It was just a market survey. So that's only a piece of it. So there will be some additional work done for those positions and likely get placed into new grades and steps if that's how that works out. We're assuming that we'll still have some sort of grade or path, but they will provide us with the full recommended pay plan when it's completed. All of the department heads will be involved in the process.
So this completes the utility of water.
This will
Include
this will
everything.
be every non-represented or elected city positions, which I think is, you said 88?
Yeah, 88.
88 positions and 100 and however many people, but we're not
149,
evaluating
I believe it
people.
was, yeah.
We're evaluating only the positions.
And these are the ones from last time.
Sure. Oh, so this was in the packet or not?
No, this was
wasn't.
the last
Okay,
one.
this is from last time. So the comparables, for those who may want to know, Appleton, De Pere, Eau Claire, Fond du Lac, La Crosse, Manitowoc, Marshfield, Neenah, Sheboygan, Superior, Watertown,
Watertown.
Watertown, Wausau, West Bend, Wisconsin Rapids, and Plover. Plover, however you want to spell it. I don't know. Any other questions? If
I got another.
not, yes, sir.
So, in doing this study, all the city employees know that it's gonna be done. Is this basically stating that we're gonna be looking to, besides the job classification, increase in pay during this year?
It will not be this year. No.
Okay.
Because the budget is already set for this year. And that brings up another point that I assume everybody would figure out eventually, that if it says we have to pay our employees 50% more for all 88 positions, we can't afford that. We just won't be able to do it. But it's important to know what we should be paying and then do our best to get there. The plan years ago was keeping up with the cost of living. And up until last year, we did a really good job with that. So we were able to match the cost of living, which kept us pretty in line with increases. However, the market fluctuates. There might be a higher demand for engineers these days. I don't know why we can't find an engineer. Or things like that. So what this is going to do is it's going to show us where we need to be, and then hopefully we'll do our best to get there. But we have to understand that there may not be the funds available to do it all. The reason this is working now is because we're anticipating that the state will increase shared revenue. We don't know how much yet. We don't know what it's going to look like completely, but best guess right now is that we're probably going to get close to $600,000 at least in an increase in shared revenue. We'll have some additional charges, as I mentioned last time, for contracted IT services and for Carrie's office because there's some big election in 2024. I don't remember what it is, but anything left could, and in my opinion, should be used for compensation to make us as close to the market as we can.
How else does this study get used? Does it like help us when we go ask the state for this shared revenue? It's like, hey, we need it in this area. Can we qualify? Do we get to use it as data when we look at requesting money?
I think we could.
Okay.
We haven't. We've really just used it internally, and then, of course, our data gets used by others when they do their pay studies. So it's a never-ending cycle. But yeah, we certainly could use that to justify asking for more shared revenue.
Okay. It can get used that way.
Yes.
I guess two things real quick. One of the things I understood from the contract was that they would come up with like 3 plans or like a certain number, and that it sounded to me, or what I understood was that they might have recommendations for how incrementally over time to bring those wages up if you can't do it like within one budget year or something.
Right, and those are all going to be your decisions when it gets completed. They're looking at August or September. We're trying to go quicker so we can get any approvals implemented before we approve the operational budget for 2024. Does that make sense? Anything else? Any directors, department heads want to add anything?
Make a motion?
That is completely in order.
Thank you.
So motion to approve,
Correct.
I assume? Do we need a second, or have a second?
Second.
We'll give the second to Alderperson Tassance. Discussion there. Yes,
Just a comment, I think when you look at the time that directors and managers spend training people, that just walks right out the door if we can't. And then the institutional knowledge that you lose as well, if somebody's been here 2 or 3 or 4 years and can get paid a little bit better. I mean, you can't blame people for trying to do better, but
yeah.
it's a small price to pay to not lose all that training money and knowledge, so.
Well, and I can tell you too that some of the feedback we get from some of the exit interviews is astonishing. Like, they're going to different municipalities and they're starting at $7 an hour more. They're going to the private sector and starting at 12 or more an hour more. So we're behind.
I would like to echo that. I mean, I work for the state, and you either have 5 years or less, or you have 20 plus. There's a whole generation gone, and we can't keep anybody. I mean, folks stay for like 1 to 5 years, and then they leave to private, or they go to some other city that's paying more than the state is. So, I mean, that's something that we've been fighting for years now, and nothing's really changing. But if we could do something at least on our level to try to keep better employees, because we see a lot of great employees that just go. I mean,
Retirements have been happening a lot too. We lost a lot of people that have been here a long time. And I can tell you that when we did the market survey in, when was it? We just talked about it. 21? 21? We had a handful of positions that were 5% or more out of whack. So it wasn't terrible. But it's important that we redo all of the positions periodically just to make sure that everything is keeping up to be where it should. Any other discussion? Hearing none, if you're in favor, vote yes. If you're opposed, vote no, and we'll have the clerk call the roll.
Morrow.
Aye.
Fischler.
Aye.
Lang.
Aye.
Shuda.
Aye.
Nebone.
I
Plassance.
Aye.
Burr.
Aye.
Keemer.
Aye.
And Christensen abstained.
Okay, so with that, the motion is approved. Our agenda is exhausted, and we are adjourned at 5:18. Thank you all.
A video of this meeting is available for viewing on the city's website, stevenspoint.com/videos.